What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be solving one of the biggest issues that people run into when they're trying to lose weight, and that is how to eat out at restaurants and still lose weight. The truth is that restaurant food is far more calorie dense than food that you might prepare at home because of the way it is prepared. In fact, one meal or one item off of a restaurant menu can have all the calories that a typical female would need in an entire day to lose weight. And that's just in one sitting. And the problem is that oftentimes when we go out to eat, we don't go out to eat and then not eat anything else for the whole day. So what happens is we go out to eat, we end up having way more calories than we realize, and all of a sudden we're not losing weight, or maybe we're even gaining weight. So this video is intended to teach you how to go out, eat at restaurants, enjoy your time with your family, with your friends, and still stay in a calorie deficit so that you can continue to lose weight. Now today we're going to be using a lot of real-world examples from a real-world restaurant, and that restaurant is going to be Applebees. Applebees is a very well-known restaurant that a lot of people have eaten at and like to eat at on a frequent basis, so I thought it would be good to take items and information from their menu to use as examples in today's video. So let's go ahead and jump into the 10 tips and tricks that we have for how to eat out at restaurants and still lose weight. But before we do that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on this page, and make sure you hit the bell button, which is right next to the subscribe button, so that you'll get notifications of all our future videos so you don't miss one. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into number one. Tip number one is you're gonna have to skip the appetizers and the desserts. I know, it's not very fun, but here's the thing. When you look at Applebee's menu, for instance, you'll notice that their appetizers range from about 600 calories on the low end all the way up to 2,240 calories on the high end as of the time that I'm making this video. The desserts aren't much better. They range from about 320 calories all the way up to about 1,400 calories on the high end. Now, typically you're gonna be splitting an appetizer or a dessert with someone else. So let's just assume that even if you got the lowest calorie appetizer, which is 600 calories, and you split it with someone else, you're eating 300 calories before your meal even comes. The problem with that is that the average female who is successfully dieting to lose weight is gonna eat about 300 calories in one meal. So bam, right there in the appetizer, you've already had your calorie allotment for the entire meal, and you haven't even got your meal yet. So make sure you skip the appetizers and the desserts if your goal is losing weight. Tip number two is you want to stick to protein and non-starchy vegetables only for your meal, which means you want to skip adding any extra sides or toppings to your meal that would be carbohydrates or fats. Things like a side of rice or a side of potatoes or a side of sliced avocado or nuts or something like that. So you want to just find a dish off of the menu for your meal that just has a lean source of protein and some non-starchy vegetables, something like broccoli or asparagus or Brussels sprouts or something along that nature, so that you are going to just get protein and vegetables. Now the reason for this is because by virtue of the way that restaurants cook their food, they use a lot of oil, they use a lot of butter, they use a lot of very calorie dense things when they're cooking their food. That's why it tastes so good. But at the same time, they're adding a lot of unseen calories to their dishes that you can't see on the plate because they're just hidden, right? They're the oils they cooked it in, etc., etc. So you want to stick to just protein and vegetables. So a good example of this on Applebee's menu would be their lemon garlic shrimp skewers. Now, if you look at the lemon garlic shrimp skewers dish, it comes with the shrimp skewers in a lemon garlic sauce with a side of rice and I believe a side of broccoli. Now here's the thing, that entire dish as it comes is 790 calories at a minimum is what the menu says. Now, 790 calories is probably 2/3 or more of the calories that the average female needs in an entire day, okay? So you don't wanna eat that dish just as it comes. So what you really wanna do in this example with the lemon garlic shrimp skewers is you would ask them to sub out the rice and instead maybe get a double serving of broccoli or another non-starchy vegetable option off of the menu like their coleslaw, and then you would also ask them to drop the sauce off of the shrimp. So now all of a sudden we've taken this 790 calorie dish, and we've dumbed it all the way down to 320 calories, which is right around that 300 calorie per meal mark that we want for most females who are trying to lose weight successfully, okay? So just sub out your options that are carbohydrate or fat-based and just stick to a very lean meat and vegetable, and make sure you leave the sauces on the side if you can. Tip number 3 is you want to pick lean cuts of meat versus the fattier cuts of meat, because the difference in, say, a lean chicken breast versus a rack of ribs in calories is astronomical, right? A good example of this on a smaller scale would be the difference between the lemon garlic shrimp skewers, which shrimp are a very lean source of protein if they're not covered in lemon butter sauce, but then you compare that to, say, their 6-ounce grilled sirloin. Okay? When you dumb down and remove the carbohydrate in the sauce from the lemon garlic shrimp skewers, you get it down to about 320 calories in that meal. You compare that to their 6-ounce grilled sirloin, which is 270 calories before you add any broccoli or non-starchy vegetables to that dish. So your 6-ounce sirloin, because it is a fattier meat, is going to be probably closer to 470 to 490 calories by the time you add sides to it, compared to the 320 calories from the shrimp, because shrimp is a very lean protein source. So you can eliminate a few extra calories from your meal by choosing the leanest protein sources that you can, and that's probably going to be white fish, shrimp or other shellfish, or lean chicken, or lean cuts of chicken. So that would be chicken breast instead of things like rotisserie chicken or chicken thighs, okay? So that's tip number 3. Choose the leanest cuts of meat that you can find on the menu. Now let's move on to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is you're gonna want to avoid salads in most cases. Now, a lot of people would think, I'm going out to eat at a restaurant, a salad is probably the healthiest thing that I can get on the menu. And you know, at one point in time that might have been true, but these days the salads on popular restaurant menus are some of the highest calorie items on their menus. If you look at the menu for Applebees, their salads range from 850 calories all the way up to over 1,500 calories, right? So you want to probably avoid salads if at all possible. So a good example though, if you have to get a salad at Applebees, let's go over an example real quick of how to dumb that salad down so it's much more healthy. So let's use the grilled chicken tender salad as an example. Now the grilled chicken tender salad comes in at about 1,130 calories when you look at the nutrition on the menu. But there's a lot of things in that salad, or that come with that salad, that are adding in unnecessary calories. Things like the dressing alone is 410 calories. It comes with honey mustard dressing at 410 calories. Holy smokes. There is a breadstick that adds about another 190 calories. Cheddar cheese that comes in at 220 calories. So when you take out the dressing, the honey mustard dressing, and you replace that with fat-free Italian dressing with 25 calories that they have at Applebees, and you take the cheese off and you get rid of the breadstick, and you're left with just the greens and the vegetables and the lean chicken breast and some low-calorie dressing, now all of a sudden you've got this 1,130 calorie meal all the way down to 335 calories, which is right around that mark that we want for most females who are trying to lose weight. So if you can, avoid salads on the menu, because there's a lot more work that you have to do when ordering a salad to make it fit what you need and to make the calories reasonable. So if you can avoid salads, try to go for a simpler item on the menu, like just a grilled chicken breast with some roasted or steamed or otherwise cooked vegetables. It'll be way easier for you to order. It'll be way easier for you to know what you're getting in that meal. Moving on to tip number 5. I kind of alluded to tip number 5 in one of the previous tips, and tip number 5 is all about the condiments, the sauces, and the dressings that restaurants like Applebee's use to make their food just taste incredible. So in the lemon garlic shrimp skewers, just that lemon garlic sauce added 220 calories to the dish. Most restaurant salad dressings run anywhere from 200 calories, but most of them run up to 300 or 400 plus calories. That's a lot. Just the salad dressing calories equal more than the average female wants to eat in one meal if they're trying to lose weight. So the salad dressings have to go. You really want to be careful of sauces, especially buttery based or cream based sauces that they're putting on their foods, your best bet when you order a dish like the lemon garlic shrimp skewers, or if you're ordering a chicken dish that has a grilled chicken breast, but it normally comes with a sauce drizzled on top of it, you want to order all of the sauces either on the side or ask them not to bring them out with the meal at all and just season your meat, okay? By just doing seasoning instead of the sauce, you're going to remove all of those calories altogether, or order your sauces and your dressings on the side and just dip your fork or dip the food very lightly in it, so you're just using a very conservative amount, and that way you eliminate a lot of those extra calories that are really piling up, okay? That's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is one of my favorites. Tip number 6 is you want to immediately put half of your meal as soon as it comes to the table in a to-go container. Now the reason I like this is because not only do you immediately cut your meal's calories completely in half, so you're really being conservative and playing it on the safe side when it comes to losing weight, but now you get to enjoy this amazing tasting food again at a later date with half the calories that it normally would be. So as soon as your food comes, ask the waiter or the waitress to go ahead and bring you a to-go container right away, and before you eat anything, put half of that dish into the to-go container, get it out of the way. So this way you have less food on your plate, you have a defined stopping point, and all that food is not staring you in the face. So if you're sitting there having a lot of long conversation, you're enjoying yourself, you're not going to be tempted to eat and eat and eat and eat, okay? So tip number 6, put half of that meal in a to-go container and get it out of the way. All right, tip number 7 is one that you have heard me hammer home time and time again, and that is that you don't want to drink your calories. Now, you've heard me say over and over again, you don't want to drink your calories any day, let alone when you go to the restaurant. You're already getting way more calories in your meal than you would if you prepared that same meal at home, because you have more control when you cook that meal at home. So there's no room for the calories in your beverages when it comes to going to the restaurant. So don't drink your calories outside of the restaurant, don't drink your calories in the restaurant. So you want to order water, you can get a flavored water, you can get a sparkling water, you could get tea, you could get coffee, you could get a diet pop. It doesn't matter as long as you're not taking in any extra calories. They're going to make this even harder on you, okay? That's it. Tip number 7, don't drink your calories. Don't do it. Don't drink your calories. All right, next tip. Tip number 8 is super easy, and that's just to conserve some calories earlier or later in the day so that you can have more room for your restaurant meal so that it doesn't plateau you or cause you to gain weight. Now, what I mean by that is if I'm going out to eat with my family, say in the evening time, then I'm probably going to have a lighter lunch, or maybe I'll just have a snack, or maybe I won't have an actual meal or a snack, I'll just have a protein shake. So I'm eating less calories earlier in the day, creating that space in my diet for the day. I'm creating room for error so that if my restaurant meal ends up having more calories than I really bargained for, it won't be as big of an impact. And you can do that any way you want. If you're going out for dinner and you want to conserve calories earlier in the day, just lighten up or skip some of your meals or snacks earlier in the day. And if you're going out for breakfast at a restaurant meal or lunch at a restaurant, you can always just eat smaller portions later for dinner, or skip your dinner or skip your evening snacks. There's a lot of flexibility here, but it's okay to conserve calories in those other parts of the day so that your restaurant meal doesn't have as big of an impact on your weight loss efforts, okay? Moving on to the next tip. Tip number 9 is all about preparation. You want to look at the menu ahead of time if you know where you're going, right? So if I know I'm going to dinner at night with my family and I know I'm going to a specific restaurant, maybe especially one that I'm not familiar with, I'm going to look up the menu ahead of time. I'm going to look at the menu options and I'm going to find the best option before I even walk into the restaurant. Now, the reason this is so powerful is if you do this, then you can walk into the restaurant knowing what you're going to get, and you don't even have to open up the menu where you'll be tempted by all the other things on the menu with all those great looking pictures and all that stuff. You can just go in, you can order your drink, you can sit there having your drink while everybody else is ordering and thumbing through the menu, but you don't have to be tempted by other things. Now, if you're looking up a menu ahead of time and you're realizing hours ahead of time that there's really nothing on the menu, this is a really poor choice for a restaurant, then my recommendation would be to speak to those who you're going to the restaurant with and see if you can divert the group to a different restaurant that would have better options for you, rather than just saying, I'm just gonna wing it, I don't wanna be a pain in the butt, I'm gonna go along with everybody else, and then you go into this restaurant not knowing what to do, not having any good choices, and then you make a bad choice and it affects your results. So try to look at the menu ahead of time, find the best options so you can just go in and order without even having to crack the menu, and if there are no good options, then make sure that you try to work on the folks that you're going with and divert them to a restaurant that does have some great options for you. All right, moving on to the last tip here. Tip number 10, the last tip on the list, is you want to prepare yourself and prepare the other people that you're going with to the restaurant so that you can be successful and stick to your game plan. Now, what I mean by that is you need to be prepared and in the right frame of mind when you walk into a restaurant, knowing what you're going to order and knowing that other people might ask you to order other things. The waitress or the waiter might recommend certain things that are not a part of your game plan. Hey, would you like to order this with your meal? Would you like to add this to your meal or that to your meal? And you've got to go into the restaurant being prepared to stand your ground and to say no. Now, it's also really a good idea to have a little quick chit chat and to make sure that the people who you're going out to eat with know that you're on a weight loss journey. You are actively trying to lose weight and to be healthier, and that you want their support when you go into the restaurant so they're not being a part of the problem. They're not trying to tempt you either purposefully or inadvertently to order things off of the menu that don't fit your plan or to cause you to jeopardize your results just by tempting you to do something that you don't really want to do or that you haven't planned to do in that situation. So definitely go into the restaurant, give yourself a little pep talk before you go in, be ready to say no, both to waiters and waitresses, and also no to the people who you are with. But hopefully you want to have those people on your team before you ever walk into the restaurant in the first place. If you want to be successful, that's how you do it. So that's it for today, guys. These are my 10 tips on how to eat out at restaurants and still lose weight. I hope that this video has helped to open your eyes a little bit to just how crazy some of the restaurants out there can be with the calorie content of their food, and just how far out of your way you have to go in order to be successful when you eat out at a restaurant. You have to be willing to say no, you have to be able to plan ahead, and you really have to be willing and able to look at the menu and know how to make the modifications that you need to take a meal that looks good but has a lot of calories in it, and how to remove certain things, how to remove the extra carbs and fat so you just have a protein and vegetable based meal, how to request your meal without the sauces and the dressings, or at least get them on the side so you can use way less of them, how to order the leanest proteins on the menu, how to order calorie-free drinks. You gotta go into these situations with a game plan and knowing and being willing to ask for modifications when you get the menu and when you're giving your order to the folks that work at the restaurant. These are tips that my clients use all the time to be successful and to eat out while they're losing weight at a rapid rate. And I know that if you take these tips and you go out and you implement them in your own life, you're still going to be able to go out and enjoy a great meal with your family or your friends or your coworkers and not have to feel guilty about it every single time you do it. So if this was helpful, I love hearing from you guys in the comments. And if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you get notifications for our next videos. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for spending this much time with me. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.